Hello guys, welcome to the next video of this run through 7.1. We're at 7.1.5 with the life cycle and hurt locker path. So these nodes are two of the less, I would say you don't have to cater for them as much. However, it can help to have certain champions. So the life cycle path is, which we all would have seen previously in getting to this point, is the path where if you knock down your opponent, it takes that blue icon to grey, and then they can't die unless that icon is grey. However, the benefit of this path is that every time you knock them down, that hurt locker or life cycle refresh is slower, up to 3.5 seconds. So this can be really helpful as soon as you get to the end of the fight. And then hurt locker is you can't throw two of the same special attacks in a row, but again, that's relatively easy. Just either go between your SP2 and your SP3, or your SP1 and your SP2, or your SP1 and SP3. However you want to play it, of course. Just don't throw the same one in a row, otherwise you'll take quite a lot of damage. So good champs for this path are any champs who can block healing or heal reversal. So obviously for this Mr. Sinister, Warlock works an absolute treat. Archangel works really well. Magneto can work. Void, Dr. Voodoo, all very effective. The only real things you need to think about is obviously this fight is one of the more annoying fights on the path. The path is Mr. Sinister, Ultron, Old Man Logan, Guillotine, Sabretooth, Guillotine 2099. Obviously every single one of these champs have regeneration, so heal block and heal reversal is really, really important. Just a champ with that or two would definitely not go amiss and will be really, really effective. Obviously, especially for this Mr. Sinister fight, because he is a real pain if you've not got a good counter. Apart from that, it's a relatively easier path until you get to the boss. Obviously, the boss is a lot more tricky. It was the first time I'd seen a boss of mixed champions, and that surprised me a lot. I got to it and I thought, I swear that's Luke Cage. Who is he mixed with? And obviously it was Electro, so that's annoying. Luke Cage on his own, fine. Electro on his own, not fine. So yeah, obviously another Electro pain. But this fight, obviously try and knock your opponent down for as long, or sort of the whole path. Try and knock your opponent down as much as possible. Get to that 3.5 second life cycle. Then you can either get your opponent to 1%, knock him down if you've got heal block or reversal. Obviously he's infected, for example, as that fight was with Warlock. Take him in. You're able to do get him to 1%, block him from healing back up, and then wait till he's on 1%, knock him down once, then tap him once and he'll die. So it's a bit easier if you have the heal block and the heal reversal. If you don't, then probably the easiest way to do it is get him to around 3 to 4%, depending on how strong your champs are. Knock him down once with a heavy attack, and then while he's down and the life cycle icon is grey, have your SP3 saved up, throw it, and they should die if done enough damage, if you're able to do that 4% damage, because the life cycle will be paused on grey. So that's the easiest way to do that. Again, just prepare for it. You've played this before, so don't be too worried, and you should be able to get through it relatively easy. So, as I said, Mr. Sinister fight, probably the most annoying fight on the path. I actually really hate fighting Guillotine 2099 as well, so that wasn't ideal. You also have to think about in your deck if you've got a good Electro Luke counter. So there are a few champs who can work for him. Falcon is probably the best. Namor at high sig works really nicely. Aegon with 500 plus on his combo. Havoc works because he doesn't take that shock damage. So obviously with Electro, which is the most annoying thing about him, is one, his special attacks are a pain to dex, and two, you take that damage back while hitting him. Falcon is a really good counter to this because obviously while his scan is on, he doesn't take any damage back, and he also obviously can't be evaded, but that's not really important in this fight. Namor is the same. At a really high sig level, he doesn't take return damage, and neither does Havoc. Quake is also a good one because obviously you don't hit, but that's more if you're experienced with Quake. She's a bit of an older champion now. Less people are using her day to day in quests, so not the end of the world. And Aegon, again, useful, but you would have had to have used him in some of these other fights, and he might not have heal block, so I'm not too aware. I don't think he does. So, that can also cause you a lot of issues. So, we'll obviously get onto the boss a bit closer to the time. Or onto the boss fight, I'll read you through the nodes so that you know what's going on. If you've done all the path but you've come for the boss, just skip to that bit, and I'll see you in there. Otherwise, as I said, Ultron one. If you've got heal block on him, make sure you just practice for that life cycle, and you should be golden. It's not something that's too tricky. It's something you can get used to, but Ultron isn't too tricky to fight as long as you are really aware of his evade and his regeneration. But if you're not ready for that, then maybe just practice against him in duels or something. But relatively easy fight. I do this fight so wrong so many times. Just watching it now, I had him as an SP3. I should have just thrown it, but I couldn't because I'd thrown my SP3 last, so I got myself into an issue by just not being aware. So going on to the Old Man Logan fight, Warlock again smashes him. Old Man Logan is a rubbish defender, just really watch out for his unblockable special attacks. However, apart from that, if you've got a Warlock or you've got somebody who heal blocks, as long as you're aware of those special attacks, this Old Man Logan shouldn't really be a problem for you. Just be aware of the life cycle, and it should get you through it. As I said, get him infected, and he shouldn't take too much time to kill. It's more the boss that is the tricky part of this path if you've got a heal block or a heal reversal champ. So I'll leave you with this fight, and I'll see you in the next Guillotine fight. So now onto Guillotine. This is the easiest Guillotine to kill of the two of them. The 2099 one, Going Invisible, is real pain, and I hate it, and I'm not looking forward to fighting her later in this quest. And the Mystic one is a bit easier. You do have those annoying special attacks where they can sometimes go unblockable, so you've just got to be really careful of that. Otherwise, just keep knocking her down and get that life cycle to its absolute max. Once you've done that, just take her out with an SP3 or an SP2, whichever, your preference, however you've been doing this the whole time. But again, not a very tricky fight. The nodes aren't too difficult. Just remember to be aware of throwing the same special attack in a row. Try not to do it. But again, relatively easy fight. Nodes don't help too much. Watch for those unblockable special attacks. I, again, don't play this quest perfectly. I probably get hit way more than I should. I just was sort of sat down and thought, I'm going to do these last 3 quests today. And so I didn't mind using any revives or anything, especially for the Luke Cage boss at the end. But yeah, Guillotine, not too difficult to take on. The easier of the 2 Guillotines for sure. Apart from that, again, I'll see you in the Sabretooth fight. So we're back in. Hello again. The Sabretooth fight, again, keep to his SP1, you won't really take any damage. Heal block, Warlock, again, is the absolute MVP for this path, in my opinion. Mr. Sinister, he absolutely smashes. Old Man Logan smashes with the class advantage. Sabretooth takes out really easily. And then, if your Warlock's really low, just swap him out, because he's not too effective, or he's not effective at all against Electro Luke at the end. So, he works really well. If you've got him, bring him in. If you've not got him, you'll be able to find one of those other heal block reversal champs, as I mentioned previously. But if you do have him and you've not ranked him up yet, he will come clutch in some of these paths. I remember when I first got him, everyone was saying how effective he'll be, and I didn't quite believe them. And now looking at him, I'm so glad I have him. He's one of my, he's one of the champs that I use the most and is basically the most helpful. So yeah, try and bring him in again. He takes out this Sabretooth so quickly, it's not even an issue. But again, if you can heal block this Sabretooth, he's not too tricky. The trickier fight is the next one. Maybe the trickiest on the path, other than Mr. Sinister, if you've not got Warlock, and that's Guillotine, and she's only annoying because I don't have a good miss counter. Otherwise, the invisibility wouldn't be a problem, and I wouldn't mind going in. So I'll sort of leave you with this fight. Again, I make a few issues, of course, but it wouldn't be a nullified video without a lot of mistakes. So yeah, hope you enjoy this fight, and I'll see you in the harder of the path fights in the Guillotine 2099. I'm back. I forgot to mention that I go wrong with Warlock. He hits me. Instead of bringing in like a Rintra, I don't really have a choice here because of how much or how strong Sabretooth's regeneration is. I need another heal block champ. Obviously, only having one was a bit of an issue. So I just revived Warlock just to get that heal block on him, stop Sabretooth's massive regeneration, and go again. But like I said, I don't mind using the revives, really. This also allows me to swap Warlock out at the character select, so at the end of the day, I'm not too fussed. I've got it done now, and yeah, I don't really mind. So almost at the Guillotine fight, I may as well leave you with it. So yeah, the Sabretooth, he does do a real big regeneration for some reason, which is surprising. But yeah, he shouldn't be too much of an issue if you've got that heal block or reversal. Try and bring in two of them, I would say, Warlock and maybe one other. Obviously, then that just really helps you for if your Warlock does die like mine, you don't need to use a revive. But this is the harder of the hardest of the power fights, the Guillotine fight, and that's just because her SP1 has got that power drain. I think I bring in Gallon, I basically just keep trying to kill her. That's all that's all my goal is here. Really, I'm not too fussed about her regeneration. I just think, well, I'll just try and hit her with some mass damage from the planetary mass. So yeah, that's where I go with this fight. Again, a heal block or heal reversal Magneto would work lovely because of the fact that she's a metal champ. But if you've not got a miss champ or somebody who can counter miss and heal block, that's probably your perfect combination. Human Torch is probably somebody who can do that. But apart from that, if you don't, just keep trying to grind this out. You're so close to the boss fight now. But apart from that, obviously we've been through the nodes, we've been through the champ. I'll see you in the Electro Luke fight where we'll break down the nodes and see what we've got going on. Hello guys, we're at the boss fight now. So obviously use your character select. Try and make sure you have someone ready for this. For example, as I said previously, Namor High Sig works. Falcon, absolute god. Crossbones can work. Aegon above 500 hits on his combo, and Havoc. There are also a few more counters probably, but off the top of my head and doing a bit of research, I don't really see them, or I can't think of who they are. I just put attack boosts onto my Falcon because obviously he is still a 5-star. And I didn't really want to use a revive here, but I obviously end up having to, of course. But, yeah. Falcon is a really good one. Get that before you can even get, before you hit him at all. Scan, you'll bypass his indestructible as well as the sort of the return damage. And then just bait his SP1. Try and... you won't be able to dex it. If you're close to him, try and be maybe a dash back away and then dash again, and then it shouldn't hit you at all. There you go, as I've done just there. That's the easiest way to fight him, and if you put him to his SP2, it does a lot of damage into the block, and is also really quite tricky to dex, and can get, you can get it wrong quite a few times. So obviously good counters for him are the ones as repeated, but he also has some nodes. He's also got some nodes on him. As you can tell, I'm still struggling with the flu type illness at the minute. Obviously, it always comes around Christmas, doesn't it? But yeah, the nodes he's got on him is arrogance. This is one I should have mentioned at the beginning of the fight, so my apologies. But hopefully you watch all this video before you go in. Arrogance is very annoying. So every 10 hits of your combo, he will get a falter passive. So on the 10th hit, you will miss, as you can see there. On the 40th hit, I missed. This causes, this lasts for 3 seconds and you miss throughout. But if you get struck, then the falter is removed. What you want to try and do is just be really wary of that. You can parry him, hit him, then with the falter, and then dash back and last those 3 seconds, and it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Apart from that, again, a miscounter would work quite well, but there isn't really many miscounters in who also can combat his direct damage back, so it's definitely something to worry about. Again, I get hit by the SP1. That SP1 can stun you, so it does a load of damage. You just have to be careful on that when you're dexing that, and make sure you learn from if you do make a mistake. As you could see, I made the mistake of not being far enough back. But again, that SP2 you can dex if you're far enough back, but you want to try and keep it to the SP1. He then also has... So you've been through arrogance, the falter, really annoying. Combo party, so every 10 hits you gain a permanent cruelty buff, which allows you to do a lot more crit damage, 500 plus. However, if you get hit, you lose all your cruelty buffs, your combo meter is lost, and 40% of the defender's attack is given to you as direct damage for each of the cruelty buffs. So say he does 5k or 4k damage, that would do you back 1600 damage, and then... But if you've got 4 of those cruelty buffs on, that's about 6,400 damage, 6,400 that you take. So you want to try and not get hit, of course, as with every fight in MCOC, but sometimes it's easier to say than to do. He's also got power build-up, so when he reaches 2 bars of power, he gains an indefinite prowess buff, which increases his special damage by 100%. Just keep baiting that SP1, and this shouldn't be an issue. As I've said already, just make sure that if he does get to the SP2, try and dex it, but it will still be very difficult. And then also, if you put him to 2 bars of power 10 times and he gets 10 prowesses, his next special attack will be unblockable. This, again, isn't the end of the world. If you're really good at dexing his SP2, then I wouldn't worry too much. But they're the nodes for Electro Luke. In hindsight, he's not maybe as difficult as I originally thought. If you can combat the direct damage that you take back, or sort of the return damage, reflection, with a Falcon or a Namor at high sig, it's not too tricky. If you can't, try and bring in somebody who will melt him. But again, crits will do a lot of damage to you. So yeah, can be a really tricky fight. Try and bring in also a champ who has high block proficiency if you're not gonna try and dex his SP1, because then, as you can see with Rintra, he blocks it a couple times, doesn't take an absolute ton of damage. It's more that SP2 that is the real problem. But you can see even into Rintra's block, it takes off like 10% of my health, which is an absolute ton, since he has the second highest health pool in the game. I would say good luck taking on this path. It's one of the more tricky ones, especially with a boss, but as you would expect going up into 7.1. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos and that they're helpful. If they are, please leave a comment. Join the Discord if you can. If you've got Discord, the link is in the description of my channel, and then also in the description of all these videos that are coming out. So join that if you want to get in and have a discussion. Thank you again for the support and for watching. I'll leave you with the rest of this boss fight. Have a good day. I'll see you guys later.